speech, I want to boil down all the arguments that have been addressed in this round and really show how at the end of the day, these negative arguments do not stand. At the end of the day, Hezbollah does control the government of Lebanon, and at the end of the day, we should end our support for the Lebanese government. So first, the contention that we must connect the United States aid specifically to the examples that Noah brought up in his tweets. Let me remind you, the examples were that of precision missiles. The examples were that of tanks, and the last example was of the Mighty Scouts. I want to point out, in all the pieces of evidence that my partner read, it referenced United States aid. It specifically said United States aid helped those programs. Next, they said that we haven't proven how the aid to the LAF is harming the United States. Again, they ignored a piece of evidence that my partner read in his last speech, saying that aid to the Lebanese armed forces has allowed Hezbollah to grow 10 times stronger. Hezbollah, a terrorist organization that has killed more Americans than anyone other than Al-Qaeda. We are strengthening them through our aid to the Lebanese armed forces. Next, they said that the Lebanese armed forces has a spotless end-use monitoring record. I have two responses to this. First of all, it's a flawed standard. The end-use monitoring only tracks who owns the weapons. It doesn't track what the weapons are used for. It was never the contention of the affirmative team that the weapons are specifically given to Hezbollah. Rather, it was our contention that Hezbollah uses its influence in the Lebanese government to force Lebanon and the Lebanese armed forces to do Hezbollah's bidding. And my second response is that congressional insiders rejected this claim. And my partner read evidence of that in his last speech. Next, I want to respond to Abby's contention that there are arrests made in 2019 against terrorists. My main response to this is that these terrorists were actually Hezbollah's enemy. This just once again shows that Hezbollah does have complete control over the Lebanese government, because the Lebanese armed forces made arrests of Hezbollah's own enemy. Next, I want to respond to the point that we're going to be losing influence. My main response to this is that we cannot lose influence that we don't have. We cannot lose influence that we don't have. Theodore said that it was our contention that we still had a little bit of influence, but that we were going to be losing all of it. It is the contention that has been unrefuted by the affirmative team that we have absolutely no influence right now. They never specifically responded to the piece of evidence that was brought up in my partner's last speech, saying that right now, Russia has complete influence over Lebanon, and the United States has absolutely no influence over the government of Lebanon. Never once since Russia gained that influence over Lebanon has Lebanon done something that the United States specifically wanted them to do. Instead, they are already bowing to Russia's bid. Next, I want to point out, respond to the stance that we're only strengthening Hezbollah. We're only strengthening Hezbollah. This once again goes back to the evidence that we're making that we're making Hezbollah 10 times stronger. If I direct you back to the first affirmative constructive, one of the main purposes of United States aid to Lebanon was to weaken Hezbollah. Instead of fulfilling that purpose of United States aid, we have actually made Hezbollah 10 times stronger. We are not going to be strengthening them with the affirmative team's policy. We are going to be taking away the aid that has directly allowed them to become 10 times stronger. And lastly, I'd like to respond to the point about sanctions. Now, Theodore basically said that our response to this was that it's not enough. That's not our response to this. Our response to this is basically that sanctions are undermined because of the current policy. Sanctions are undermined because of the current policy. And my partner read evidence for that. If I direct you back to the first constructive where I asked Theodore questions, I asked him, are sanctions effective if at the same time that we are trying to stop their financial flow, we are giving them money? He said no. That's exactly what we're doing in the current system. These sanctions are ineffective because while we're trying to stop their financial flow, we're giving them money. So now that we have responded to all the arguments that the negative team has presented, I'd like to go over the point that Hezbollah does have complete control over the Lebanese government. If you look at almost any source, they will say that Hezbollah has complete control over the Lebanese government. If you look at Lebanon's founding document, it says that Hezbollah should have control over the government. If you look at the Lebanese Armed Forces website, it actually says that Hezbollah has control over the government of Lebanon. Hezbollah themselves claim to have control over the government of Lebanon. If you look at Israeli sources, they say that Hezbollah has control over Lebanon. And if you look at third-party sources, United States government sources, they all agree on one thing: Hezbollah has control over Lebanon. I ask you to vote for it.